What it is. What's up, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Um, it's 4 a.m. Just getting warmed up before I hop on this podcast with my homie Jazowski. Um, yeah, just tapping in, just checking in. You know what I mean? As I said, I would, trying to be consistent with these check-ins or whatever, right? Um, I was just listening to the Luminary podcast with Black Star, Yaslin Bey, Talib Kweli, and Dave Chappelle. Um, man, I only listened to a little bit of it, but from what I heard so far, man, it definitely was touching on topics that be dancing around in my head. And then when you hear something come right back at you, you're like, wow, man, like that's what I'll be thinking. Or yes, exactly. Um, I'm gonna read something that I wrote down um, that they were talking about. They touched on the topics of. I'm not going to give too much, but they touched on the topics of art. And one of the quotes that I did really appreciate was this: what Yasin Bey said, aka Most Def. He said, "Art is a thing people forget they need until they need it." You know what I mean? If that quote, if that statement didn't, you know, stand true, my twin sister, Keela Evans, she's an art teacher. She was also an art major um, at Wake Forest University. She got a scholarship to go to Wake Forest because she played basketball for the Demon Deacs, uh, which also Muggsy Bogues, the recent piece that I did for Taisha and her pops Muggsy, he also went to Wake Forest. He was also a Demon Deac. But I remember my sister, this is about maybe a year after the pandemic, even prior, like it's a lot of art that is not necessarily looked at as any importance in the school system. Um, remember back in the day, well, in my day, as a kid, we had art class. It was like a thing, but that has slowly but surely, just like with the simple skills of writing in cursive, like some of these things are not being taught in school anymore or made of any importance. So that quote again, art is a thing people forget that they need until they need it. It's art behind me, it's art everywhere. You can't miss or skip a beat when you're thinking about art, you know. Oh wow, on me, I have two of the most prom one well two of the most prominent one of the most prominent artists was Basquiat and um, Andy Warhol. And when they were, they had some ups and downs in their friendship, but they were able to collaborate on this a photo shoot. And on the back is both of them actually boxing. You know what I'm saying? I made this, I believe, February 2022. Um, you know, I really appreciated their art and how they were able to create these iconic images. So I put it all on a hoodie, because I never seen it done that way before. I like to wear their art. You know what I mean? This is art apparel. Whereas some of my collectors, they may, you know, uh, put something like this in a glass case, which still to me is like, what? You know what I mean? Or they may wear it to special occasions. Um, and that's something that I wish I was taught when I made my first T-shirt. I probably made my first shirt. I feel like in 2003. I can't remember what it was, but it had something to do with me gluing probably like fabric from Joanne's fabric onto the T-shirt. And maybe it was at the time I was getting fabric from Joanne's or Michael's, and I remember getting the peanuts. They had like these. a monogram of Charlie Brown and his friends playing baseball. And I remember cutting up all the images, and just as it was onto the sheet, I would put it onto the to the actual shirt. And I had like these Phil boot Timberlands. They were like burgundy and brown, and the tan brown matched like the Gucci fabric. And I remember going to someone's junior prom. Uh, shout out to Jessica. I went to her junior prom. She was a Western Dove. And the leftover fabric that I had from the Gucci fabric that we would get on eBay, because eBay at that time they sold yards of um, Gucci fabric, and people would actually buy the yards and make it into, a dress or whatever have you. And I remember actually putting like the fabric inside the field boot, um, and wearing that, matching that with the Charlie Brown. And this is before I didn't even know who Dapper Dan was at that time. This was like in 2002, 2003. And, I remember also taking like the fake Burberry hats from a beauty supply store. And I would buy, it was like $10 a piece. And I had like a jean uh, denim set that I would actually get from the store, and I would take the bucket hat, take the fabric apart, and at the top it had like that circle at the top, so I would make that into a Pac-Man, and I would take the other bucket hat and make that into a ghost. And whatever material I had left, I would put like Pac-Man in letters, put that in the back, and I would go to a shoe store that sold hospital shoes. I believe it was DSW. And at that time, like I said in the previous, I think I said this on a podcast, and I said this in the previous talk. I was a stone cold thief as a teenager, so I remember actually relocating these shoes as well, these hospital shoes. But who wanted hospital shoes back in the day? Who was pressed on them? Hardly nobody, right? All white pair, and I would actually utilize the fabric, and that was on the brim of the bucket hat, and I would put that on top of the straps, right? And then on the toe caps of the hospital shoes, I would put the remaining fabric onto the toe cap, and that whole outfit with the white tee underneath. And I didn't wear the bucket hat because I didn't want people to actually take off the hat and be like and find out that it was, fugazi. But a lot of people thought that outfit was real. I remember wearing that to Club Choices, and I remember Poor Chop stopped me. He was like, "Yo, you gotta make me one of them." And yeah, man, that was like in 2003. A year after I graduated from high school, or maybe it was summer of 20. I'm sorry, 2002. But yeah, man, that was art. If I had any of those pieces now, from 2002, 2003, all the way up to now, those pieces I would actually put in a glass case. Those pieces I would actually, if I have an exhibit, I can exhibit how far I came, the journey. So even this, like sometimes like the pieces I've created recently, I try to preserve as much as I can, or some of my family members or friends, they be like, "Hey, yo, I really like that hoodie," and I might just give it away. But I make sure I sign each and every thing that I do. Now I know that these images, I didn't take these; these are images, but I'm, I'm using the images to allow it to live in a different place, in a different space. Some people are not going to museums. Some people are not going into like MoMA or Baltimore Museum of Art. If they are anything like me, went from only museum that I went to, and this is sad to say, but only museum I went to as a young adult was the Baltimore, I'm sorry, the Blacks and Wax Museum. I didn't step into a museum until later on in my adult years. I want to say probably like my late 20s, early 30s. And why is that? You know, Besides it being from a field trip, I didn't see the value in admiring art, creating art, producing art until I am my age now. So and art has saved my life. Art has created so many opportunities for me that I wouldn't even have imagined. So information changes situations. And if we, of course, share information, or if I kind of share the value and bring awareness to that, like my twin sister is doing, like a lot of people here in Baltimore have been doing with what they have, with the light that they have, they're able to shine that light, by sharing that gift, then, we can create community, So, anyway, I ain't want to be on here too long. I just wanted to share my 2 cents on art. But anyway, like I said, if y'all have anything that y'all want to talk about, or y'all topics that y'all would love me to talk about, I know this is early. I didn't, sometimes I don't expect to have anybody on here with me. But, if I do start this at a later day or later on in the day, or even if y'all wake up with me after seeing the playback from this, but just leave a comment, leave a paper trail, leave your digital footprint, leave your mark. You know what I'm saying? Let's make today a great day on this Thursday of January 26th. All right, salute, peace, and many blessings.